Hey, this is the Art Life video blog number 141. My name is John Santellano.
I'm Jacob Wolf. Thank you for having me here, John.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So do you want to just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I started working at this company down the street. It's a factory that makes art glass here in the Pacific Northwest, and I have been making glass ever since I've met them. And yeah, in a nutshell, I moved here maybe 5 years ago from the Midwest, around Chicago, and I think since moving here I've become much more creative, and have been recently trying to advertise my glass to sell or to just put up in different places. So yeah.
What was your art background before you came to Portland?
So before Portland, I pretty much had zero art background, which is pretty shocking at this point, but still, you know, I can't draw for shit, you know, I can't paint. So the only thing I can think of is that you know, I worked with my hands, doing back-breaking jobs my whole life or whatever, and so I tend to think of things more as like a mechanical process, you know? So any project that I work on, or glass that I work with, or art that I do, in my mind, if I can change it to a mechanical process that I can go through, it makes it much easier for me. But as far as an art background, little. I will say that you know, my grandfather, he was like a jack of all trades, and one of his jobs into retirement was woodworking, you know, and he had a shop in his basement, and you know, he lived next door to us, and you know, I recall going and working with him in his shop, and working, you know, doing woodworking, making shelves, really nice shelves, or you know, napkin holders, or toilet paper holders, things like that he would just grind out, and go to shows, and we would go to the shows with him, help him, you know, work the till, try to help us with our math, or you know, go out there and sell some of this stuff. And so that was always cool, going to craft fairs with him. And I think that, you know, I think some of that is I've got some of that from him, because even now with the glass, I'm always like, these things right here, I would like them in a wood or metal frame. Can I make that? Because I asked for a price of a nice frame for that one right there, and they were like, oh, $1,200, and I was like, that's absurd. But I think if I could learn to do that, that would be great. I've recently tried to start welding, and if I can make a frame out of metal for one of these, would look amazing. So yeah. I think in that regard, I have remembered a passion that I used to have working with my grandfather, and just grinding out crafts.
So when you got the job, how'd you hear about it? Was it just,
you know what? I saw it on Craigslist. I was working at Home Depot when I moved here. I didn't have a job. I had a phone interview on the way here, and got a job 3 days later at Home Depot in Jantzen Beach, all the way up north, and lived out here in the southeast. And didn't, you know, I kind of enjoyed working in the lumber department of Home Depot, because people in Portland have crazy, absurd, you know, projects that they're working on. Oh, I need this chicken coop, and it's got to look like this, and gathering materials. But that was cool. But you know, I needed more money and more hours, so found this place on Craigslist, and that was about 4 years ago. And I've known, you know, some of my coworkers to just email the human resource manager because they graduated from art college for glass, and they look to our company because it's one of the best in the world, and uproot and move here just for this job that, you know, it's decent wages, but you know, it's a place that people that are in the glass industry would like to have on their resume, you know, immediately out of college.
And you have the benefit of getting discounts on materials.
Yeah. We do have discounts. Can't really say what those are.
No, I'm not asking.
But you know, a lot of times things get scrapped. You know, just tossed out, and things that can't be used to sell. Glass that gets used for testing purposes and then just gets discarded. So a lot of times, or things that went wrong, you know, they're just not able to sell, and so a lot of times they allow us to take scrap glass. A lot of times they do a lot of classes up front. We have a resource center and education center, so they always have classes. Whatever gets discarded from those classes, we have a studio for the employees at the company, which you know, they just donate a bunch of stuff, bunch of glass to our employees' studio, which is a decent studio, and normally when you're thinking about renting a studio space, you would imagine $200 a month, and our employee studio is, well, that's like $5 a month, and we get the use of kilns. Like, if I didn't work at this company, I wouldn't be able to work with any of this glass. The glass is expensive, and it should be. It's nice, but to buy a kiln is expensive. The energy that you need to use to run that kiln, to fuse these things together, or keep it running to blow glass, that's a considerable. It's not something cheap that you can get into, but you know, it's definitely, in my mind, been a blessing to find these guys and to work with them, because even my coworkers are so creative and work on projects together that you know, it's just becoming more and more, and it looks better and better every time we collaborate, you know.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, you started working there, and did you like immediately, automatically decide that you wanted to start working with glass?
Yeah, immediately. Well, you know, out of college, I went to a couple glass exhibits. One in Chicago, was Dale Chihuly, and then another Dale Chihuly exhibit in Indianapolis, and you know, really got into his glass blowing. It was like, you know, he's pretty well known, but you know, it blew my mind, and it seemed magical, and I never thought one day that I would be able to understand it and work with it. And you know, Dale Chihuly, I believe, went to college with the owner of my company. The owner of my company set this up with, you know, other glass artists that, when glass art was really becoming big, like 60s, 70s or something, they went in together and bought the company, you know, built the company, and yeah, things like that. Just learning more and more about the world of glass. It's been amazing, you know.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you're currently working on?
So, at this point, I have, like I said, I would like to make frames for these, but I'm gonna have an interview on Monday to get into a studio on Alberta Street. So I think that I would have to, and I have one of our friends. They work with they started a nonprofit, and it's this Art of Love, and you should come. The Art of Love. Should have remembered the date, but they raise money through an art auction, and the location pretty much changes yearly. But I've worked with them at that auction, and they raise money for this children's home, young men's home to get people off the street in Burkina Faso. And I believe I think October is when their show is. So if I want to have things like this in the gallery and then donate things for that art auction, I just have to get to work. I have to get in the kiln, but we have to share kiln time with like all our employees who use the studio. So especially around Christmas, that stuff fills up. People are trying to make gifts and send them back home. Like, here's a bowl, Grandma. Think, and so sometimes it's tough to get time in there, and yeah, kilns aren't cheap, and neither is the electricity to run them. So I think just like producing more. I have mixed emotions about making like jewelry because I wouldn't buy it, and but I went to a craft fair once, and I realized I'm not really a craft fair type goer. I made a decent amount of money. I made like, I don't know, $200-300 off of just jewelry, and I had like other things that no one bought, and it was worth going. But
I hear through like festivals and stuff like that. I don't know. But that jewelry always sells really well.
Of course, so people are trying to spend, the most $20, $15, if they can get, a bunch of them for $15 each. I would rather, make some and put it in a gallery and, not sit there for 8 hours trying to smile and like, there's like a little girl next to me who's like trying to raise money for a pony, and she made a bunch of, and she's making a killing, and everybody's like adoring it. I'm like, oh, you angel, here's $10, good luck on the pony, but still, it was a decent amount of money that it was worth going and selling them, but I'm not really a craft fair type of person. So that was one thing that I attempted and set up. Maybe I'll do some more in a different setting, not like the holiday bazaar or something, like festival. Maybe I'll try it, but
can you talk a little bit about the process of making something like this?
Well, yeah, it's pretty much different. We have many furnaces of glass, and so all these tanks of glass have different colors in them. Some of them are opaque, some of them are transparent, which we call cathedral style, and so beforehand you would decide, I want to mix these colors together, I want a little bit of this color, a little bit of this color, and a lot of a base for it, and these things, just globs of glass, get thrown on a table, sent through rollers onto another table that it feeds onto, and then it cools down and you throw it into a leer. But this would be, two different colors drizzled on to those rollers while the other glass is going through. It's a really ridiculous process that they do tours for. You can actually now sign a waiver and make your own sheet of glass. Like, yeah, it's something that we just started doing, I believe. I believe that it's been done a couple times before, but it's not cheap, but it's an awesome experience. Or you can just come to take a tour for free and watch people do it. Because people get amazed because it's ridiculously hot, absurdly hot. You know, glass and furnaces up to like 2,600 degrees. You know, if you heat up a pizza at 325 or 425, and we're at 2,600 degrees, the work that I do is like, you know, putting sand and minerals into these furnaces and then melting it down to glass and homogenizing it and making sure it's the correct color and it's able to be fused to all our other glass. And you can actually just come on by and they'll gladly take a tour with you, you know, walk you through, because the owner of the company is very proud as well. He should be. I mean, he's, you know, created this world that we live in, and he's really proud of the process, you know, and he wants people to see it and experience it, because it's not easy, and yeah, there's a lot of labor involved in processes that have been going on for many years, you know, just with, you know, very few, you know, mechanical advancements, but still there's a lot of very old processes that we go through, and a lot of it is just, you know, back-breaking labor, hand-casted glass. So we also make it in like bullion or powdered or crushed forms. So it's and really the Pacific Northwest is like a hub for, I would say, the world, one of the hubs for the world of just art glass. You know, there's amazing art school just north of here. So many studios and exhibits, and you know, this company, you know, it's an exclusive company. This company makes amazing glass, and it's ridiculous that I just kind of fell into working with it, and have tried to take off the best I can. You know, working with they have professionals that teach classes, and they do those classes online, and they give all their employees just like free access to any class that they want, and it goes through step by step, you know, how to make you know, really cool items, you know. So
how do people get a hold of you?
I would say my email. It's my last name then my first name. That's Santellano John, SANTELLANO John, JOHN @gmail.com. And you know, I had an Etsy site at one point, and I realized that I just don't like trying to sell on Etsy either. Like holiday bazaars and Etsy, I don't know. It just doesn't work out for me. So my email is the best way to get a hold of me.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so I've actually interviewed a couple people that work with glass, doing stuff similar to this, not quite like yours,
right.
But also people that do mosaics.
Yeah.
So those might be people that you're interested in talking with, either about collaborating, or maybe they'd be interested in your glass. I don't know, but pretty cool.
Yeah. So Bullseye, they were given a project. You know, the Max line comes to the southeast now. So at all the Max stations that they just set up, we hired a mosaic artist to like use our glass to do their rendering of paintings that another artist did here. And so all the Max lines have mosaics from people that we got to watch making them for a long time. So yeah, yeah, different ways of, you know, I've never got into stained glass, and I think of mosaics the same way I think of like trying to do a painting. Like it for me, it just seems like too difficult. Like I don't have that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that glass is so amazing, because there's a lot of different ways you can work with it. You know, you can fuse with it. You can, you know, crush it up and make jewelry and blow glass. You can paint with glass. You can make molds and statues out of glass. It's pretty amazing medium to work with. If there's any way you can get into it, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your goals and aspirations for the future?
As far as glass, I don't know. I'm pretty confident about getting into this gallery on Alberta, which, you know, Alberta's, you know, one of the art hubs in Portland, and ahead of the last Thursday, which is at the end of this month. I forgot what day it falls on, but you know, if I can have a display in there before that and see what comes from that, it might inspire me to go further, because at this point, you know, it's just like, you know, a hobby. I do other things, you know. I've taken the summer off of coaching soccer, but I've been a soccer coach for a long time, and that takes a lot of time to be at. I was at the field like 7 days a week, a lot, and so I just took the summer off from that and was like, can I try to see where I can take this glass in that meantime. So at this point, it seems like, depending in the next few months how it goes, if it goes well, maybe I'll make more glass and try to go, you know, make a website and you know, photos and put those up there and really try to get into the internet with it. But at this point, you know, it's still just a hobby that I am turning into a little bit of a part-time job and see how it goes. So that's, you know, it's a difficult industry. Well, there are a lot of professionals, you know, and they're so good. And
yeah,
once you see professionals, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's much better than what I make, you know. But so at the moment, it's just like a bit of a part-time job, and we'll see how it keeps going.
Right on.
Yeah, but more than a job, you know, because it's a bit of a passion at this point, and yeah, you know, and at this point, you know, you have to give credit to my wife, because she like encourages me to do it, because I'm usually my own worst critic, you know, and some of it, you know, I'll spend like hours just staring at it. Oh, it's so awesome, and then it's been like, I've had it for like 2 years, and it's been underneath the bed for a few months, and you see it, and you're like, I just want to smash it on the ground, you know. But, you know, it's fun, you know.
Right on.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the gallery that I put on for the artists that I interviewed.
Right.
It's called Fourth Effin' Friday,
Right.
because it's generally the fourth Friday of the month. The next one will be in October, not September. It's always at my place, and there's always a ton of artists, live music. I provide free booze and food for everybody, and we like paint on the walls. And there's a stripper pole that was recently installed in my house. It gets fun. It gets crazy. We had a face painter, and we've had a balloon artist come out before.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun. But it'd be great to have you come out. It should be October 23rd or possibly the 30th. We might do a costume party. I'm thinking that that's going to happen, but I'm not sure yet. So October 23rd or 30th, 4th or 5th, effing Friday. And yeah, it'd be great to have you out. We do a raffle. I asked all of the artists if there's something small that they wouldn't mind donating.
For sure.
And at the end of the night, if any of the guests that have come in donate $5 or more towards the Art Life video blog and Fourth Effin' Friday, they get a raffle ticket, and we just give away a bunch of art at the end of the night. And people are usually really excited to. I mean, it's fun. Like, we gave a one-of-a-kind Flappy Bird on a Nintendo cartridge away this last time. It was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll definitely donate something and probably be there. So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
Cheers. I'm out of beer, but do you have any last comments, questions, or concerns?
No, I'm good, man.
Right on. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Art Life Video Blog 141. And I know I have an interview tomorrow, so I'll catch you then.